Hi, hello everyone. Welcome to today's discussion. We will be talking about an immigration visa status type that is specifically designated for citizens of Canada and Mexico, and it allows them the opportunity to work and live in the United States. Now, this status is called and known as the TN visa. So, stick around. We're going to be talking about what the TN visa is and what the requirements and eligibility criteria is for this specific type of visa. So, what is the TN visa? A TN visa is also known as a trade NAFTA visa, and it is a non immigrant visa that allows Canadian and Mexican citizens to work in specific professional occupations. They're known as NAFTA professions, and it allows them to work here in the United States. Again, it is a temporary visa with an initial validity of up to 3 years. But the good thing about this visa is that it can be renewed indefinitely as long as the visa holder continues to meet certain eligibility requirements. Now, the visa is available for only citizens of Canada and Mexico under this specific North American Free Trade Agreement. And this agreement was created between the countries to create a unique trade relationship between the United States, Canada, and Mexico. The good thing about this visa is that entering on the TN, people can work, right? They can come here, and as long as they have an approved job, they can come to the United States and work for a designated a period of time that can continuously be renewed. So that's the TN visa, and we're going to talk a little bit about what the requirements are. So the TN visa is quite similar to another temporary visa, the H-1B visa. However, there are a few differences between the two. Now, first, the TN does not require employers to have an LCA, known as a labor condition application from the Department of Labor. And this means that there's no specific conditions on work or requirements for prevailing wage that the employer needs to meet in order to hire someone for the specific role. And in fact, the for the TN visa, you only simply have to show that you have a support letter from your employer offering you a full time or part time job that falls within the TN professional list. Second, there's not a need for the employers to sponsor the employee, and this makes the cost for both the employers and employees very low, right? Many employers like this benefit of the TN because they don't have to pay any associated fees with sponsoring someone on a temporary visa like the H-1B visa. And then third, there's no numerical caps on the TN visa, whereas with the H-1B visa, there's a cap of 65,000 people who are allowed to come to the United States and work with that visa. Good thing with the TN, there is no limit on how many people that can work with the TN visa. And this means that citizens of Canada or Mexico who fulfill the requirements can get a TN visa essentially. Now, what are the requirements to become eligible for a TN visa? To be eligible for the TN status or TN visa, you'll need to first provide proof of your citizenship. So you have to prove that you are a Canadian or Mexican citizen by providing either your passport or your birth certificate. You have to provide proof of pre-arranged full-time or part-time employment, a job offer in the United States with either a U.S. employer or a foreign employer that has a U.S. entity. You must first secure a job offer prior to applying for the TN. And you also have to provide evidence of your qualifications to practice in that specific TN professional, such as a bachelor's degree or a master's degree. So, for example, if you're applying to be an accountant or an attorney here in the United States, you have to provide evidence that you have the qualifications to work in that specific field. Okay. And you also have to prove that you intend to return back home after your visa expires. Because in order to qualify for a TN visa, you must not have immigrant intent, right? You have to have non immigrant intent. Because specifically, the TN regulation states that you must be seeking temporary entry into the United States. So this means that you should not have the intent to permanently reside in the United States. Now, in order to satisfy this requirement, You should demonstrate that your job offer is temporary. Additionally, you can show that you are maintaining your residence back home and that you will maintain your residence back home. You want to show that you still are holding strong ties back to your country, in order to show that you do intend to eventually go back home. Now, I did mention before that you can continue to renew the TN visa. That is true, but you still have to understand that it is a temporary visa. So let's talk about the process for applying for the TN status. Now, the process for getting TN classification is going to be different for Mexican citizens versus Canadian citizens. Canadian citizens do not need to apply for a TN visa. Instead, a Canadian citizen can apply for TN status directly at a US port of entry, so at the airport. Mexican citizens, however, they must apply for TN visa at a US consulate or embassy abroad back home before entering in the United States. Canadian citizens can also apply for an initial TN with USCIS, and they can get pre-approved before seeking admission to come into the United States. However, for Mexican citizens, they're not eligible for this. They have to instead file a TN petition with the US consulate or embassy in Mexico. What will I need to apply for TN status? So first, you're going to need a TN support letter from your employer, basically summarizing your job and making sure that it is a NAFTA profession that is approved under this status. You have to also provide your qualifications, and it also include other information about the role, such as the salary, length of employment, what your responsibilities will be, and so forth. You want to also provide proof that you actually qualify for this role, right? So like I mentioned before, if you're applying to be an accountant, then you have to provide proof of your degrees, your transcript, your diploma, your bachelor's, whatever's required for that specific NAFTA role. You're going to have to provide proof that you have the qualifications to work in that specific position. Okay. And you're going to have to pay any associated fees with the application. So, depending on where you're applying, whether you're at a consulate or embassy, you pay the fees associated with that application, or whether you're applying at a port of entry. When providing proof of your qualifications, please bring original copies of all of your qualifications. So the TN visa is a really great option for citizens of Mexico and Canada who are looking to come here and work in the United States. It's a great option because it doesn't require sponsorship from an employer. So it's a lot of a more straightforward process. If you would like to learn how our firm can assist you with applying for the TN visa, you can give us a call at 201-565-0099. If you have any other immigration matters that you would like us to assist with, you can give us a call and we'll be happy to work with you. Also, if you like this video, please consider giving us a like and subscribing to our channel, and share this video with anyone who you feel will benefit from the information. Again, thank you so much for joining me in today's discussion, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.